So today we are going to be making Robert the Monster. Robert the Monster from nowhere. He's a creation of my imagination. So let's turn him into a cake. Let's get started. So 2 days before I even started this cake, I created his eye using some white fondant. I took a cookie cutter and just cut out some white fondant. Then I placed it onto my cake form pan to give it that sort of rounded shape. Now with a smaller cookie cutter, I cut out a little bit smaller circle for the inside of his eye. And I wanted this eye to look as realistic as possible, so I took some white food coloring and a paintbrush and just brushed it on from the middle outwards to give it some detail. Then I took some black food coloring and brushed it towards the middle to give it even more depth. I got a little bit of black fondant, cut it out into a smaller circle and placed that in the middle. I attached both of those onto the white piece of fondant and then I let it sit for an entire day. Now eyes are like wet, they glisten, you see the glisten, you see it. And I wanted Robert to have that same sort of realistic eye feel, so I mixed a little bit of corn syrup with some water and then I poured it over the eye. So that when it dried, it would dry wet looking, you know? And then I just let it sit until the cake was ready to be made. So to create him, I used 2 6-inch sphere pans. I wanted him to be dark chocolate because he's my best friend. And I wanted him to taste like dark chocolate. I'm gonna eat my best friend. Then so I baked them in the oven, leveled them off, did all that ice and good stuff to stick them together, and gave it a crumb coat. Now after my cake was sat in my fridge for about 2 hours, I rolled out some lime green fondant and covered my entire cake. Now originally I thought that Robert was supposed to be like a poo-poo brown monster. That's what I imagined, but I didn't think that looked appetizing, so I made him a lime green. But because I thought he was a brown monster and now he's a lime green monster, I'm gonna say that Robert has the ability to change colors. Oh, how about that? I think lime green is so attractive and it does look a lot like Mike Wazowski. Covering a sphere cake sucks, especially when this is one of the first times you've done it. It sucks. And then I took my lime green fondant and created some more of Robert. Gave him 2 little feet, and then I gave him 2 very little arms. Now for his feet, I wanted to give him some detail, so I added some pads, like you know your dog? The pad that's on the bottom of your dog's foot. I wanted that, but I wanted it in yellow because I thought it was really cute. Everything I make, if it just comes from my head, it's cute. I just like things that are cute. Now we're gonna move on to his style, his hairstyle, or horn style. Now Robert has a spiked mohawk that goes from the front and it goes all the way back. To create this, I actually took some ice cream cones, cut them down with a serrated knife. Wanted a small one in the front, then a bigger one, then a smaller one, then a bigger one. Then I covered all of my horns in white fondant. Now I'm just roughly molding it with my thumbs because I don't want these horns to look perfect. I wanted him to look very deadly with these horns. Deadly adorable. And after I molded them, I thought they were too long still, so I cut them down about 1/2 inch. Then I used more of my white fondant to give him some claws for his hands and some itty bitty teeth, little itty bitty teeth for his mouth. So after everything was ready, I took my cookie cutter that was the size of the eye and I actually cut out the fondant where I wanted the eye to be. Now I'm kind of working with a close to frozen cake just to make sure that the eye doesn't move. And then I molded the fondant around it to make it look like a pretty eye socket. Place my eye inside. Oh, battery! Don't battery. Gosh. Oh my gosh. Then I took some of my fondant tools and carved out his mouth. I love crooked smiles. I put crooked smiles on almost everything. And Robert is no different. I attached both of his arms with a little bit of gel paste. Is that what it's called? Let me go look. Piping gel. It's called piping gel. And then I took some piping gel and attached both of his claws also. And then I did the exact same thing with his feet. Both of his feet. Then I used fondant and a cake dowel to plunge it into the ice cream cone and then arrange them on top of the cake in a mohawk fashion. I really like this mohawk. It's so rebellious. I love it. Now to give it even more detail, I wrapped the base of it with some green fondant and then used my fondant tool to make it look like the horn was like breaking through the skin, you know? Like the cuticles on your nails. So I rolled out yellow fondant really thin and then put on some really random spots on both sides of his head. They kind of looked like zebra spots except These are yellow and not orange. So I took some black edible dust and started painting around his eye. I wanted him to look dirty, like a garbage pail kid. Now on the rest of his features, I actually used a combination of brown and black dust. His skin looked too much like fondant, so to make it look more realistic, I took my fondant tool and I just sketched in some scales. It's a combination of scales and elephant skin. That's kind of what I was going for. And then, voila, you have my friend. What's his name? Robert the... Man, I'm screwing this up. Robert the Monster. The perfect man for Halloween. His crooked smile is a winner, man. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you want me to make next, and I will see you very soon. Bye.